All right, guys. So we are live and recording. All right. So remember, this stream is sponsored by PrimeXBT. Okay. So if you want these videos and all the shared trades on Twitter and Telegram, make sure to sign up using the referral link or the promotion code TO Trader. Okay. And I will share that as well with the video after uploading it to YouTube. All right, so let's start off this session. I think we have a lot of things to discuss, but I think for me, I really want to express sort of a few things that are important. So the key features, right? So is what I think people need to take with them on the trading journey are sort of two things, and that is market structure, all right, so PA, liquidity, etc. Okay, and then the other one is time frames, all right. So both of these aspects really you can't really understand them without experience, and the more experience you get, the less you're gonna neglect both of this, right? So of course, let's not forget. Let's include fundamentals. All right, so fundamentals, we're talking central banks decisions, right? More or less sort of rate the overall market outlook. We're not talking about sort of the fundamentals of your favorite altcoin. So with these three aspects, you can sort of create an edge, right? And then that particular edge can be used to sort of understand which market direction you want to trade with. Now, that set aside, then you can use sort of time frames, lower time frames, to go in and take more advanced bets, or bigger size, whatever, right? The way you view the lower time frames is sort of your own point of view, and the way you create what you believe in, right? So, but overall, let's just discuss market structure. But market structure is the same, right? On a 1 minute all the way to a weekly chart, there's no difference in market structure and price action. It's just the speed and the magnitude for the movements, right? So, and the point of that is that when you're having a market structure levels on a weekly or on a daily, the probability of getting a reaction or a movement through that is always extremely high, right? So I really recommend watching weekly. Okay, weekly is the key time frame, and then daily, right? Daily is sort of the main time frame. Weekly and daily, right? Keep your eyes always, right? So what matters is the weekly and daily, all right? So weekly and daily. These two are sort of your best friends. This is what you want to always focus on. Let's put it down. So that's why you really want to focus on. I'm going to explain this. I'm going to make it very obvious to you. All right, so then you're having fundamentals, central banks, directions, okay, and then we're having a price action and structure. So price action structure is always the same, right? And what happens for, give me a second, for price action and structure is that price will always consolidate, expand, create consolidation, and then move all the way back down. So this is the absolute fractal aspect of trading, right? And you have to acknowledge this, and we always happening, okay, on all time frame. But when this plays out on a high time frame, such as the weekly and daily, we're talking then days and weeks for price to unfold. So if this is a daily chart, the amount of time we need to spend at the bottom of this move before getting an expansion back up will also be relevant, equal to what we sort of had at the top or the previous, right? It can take anything from 2 to 4 days. So if you have a bearish candle, I really want to explain this, right? So if you have if this here is one daily candle, okay, you don't expect this to get back up to that particular level within 2 days. not gonna happen, right? You need to give it, right? So understand that if this candle is on a Thursday, you don't expect your trade to set up before next week, right? Or even further out of that spectrum, right? And you want sort of small body candles, maybe a small nuke, then engulfing that nuke, right? And then price going back up, creating that consolidation, and then price expanding. And this is sort of the fractal aspect you want to play with. But you want to play this with this on a weekly and daily chart, and then you use the lower time frames such as 4 hour, 8 hour, 10 minutes, 50 minutes to move in and understand that, all right, so we're looking for expansion, right? So we're looking to see if we're getting more information to get the best possible entry to maximize profits, right? Or else you can also have a much wider stop loss, right? So you enter there, you have a wide stop, you don't really care about the R's, you're happy with getting 1 or 2 R's with the size, because what matters to you is being or having exposure to the market, right? So I always say this in every stream, the higher your portfolio is, right, the less important it will be for you to catch high R's, right? The smaller your portfolio is, the less money you have, the more important it will be for you to catch high R, right? So, if you have a huge portfolio and 1 or 2 R is a significant amount of money, you are not chasing 6 R trades. You don't need it. It's pointless. Why would you risk losing a 6 R trade when you're happy with making money with 1 or 2 R? All right. So with that said, okay, let's go to let's start with Bitcoin. All right. So on a daily chart here, we can see sort of the obvious. And in terms of structure now, this is absolute perfection. And and the reason why this is perfection playing out as we speak is because we're having what? We're having a consolidation, price expands. We create a larger distribution top, and price expands back down, right? It's the absolute perfect market structure, price, and then price coming back down. It's absolutely perfection. This is the fractal in general you want to play on all time frame, right? And your edge can be within it, getting into the top, looking for expansion. It can be waiting lower and whatnot. Okay. Now, with that said, let's just do some quick analysis and just use some reference points. I don't understand why this one is stuck there. Let's do a reverse one on it. Yeah, no, I don't like it. It doesn't matter. So, and let's use the fib from the bottom to the top there, so you can see. Let's take this because it's not accurate at the moment. So we're having some of these structures, right? So daily market structure low, daily market structure high, weekly high, right? So these are sort of the levels I'm watching price to move at the moment, right? So I was hoping to get a reaction from either this SR or this SR. I want to see sort of a reaction. If you had a reaction with that level, you could have traded price coming back up in towards sort of the key level. Now, with that not happening, as we just melted through like butter due to the FUD that had in crypto, and it's not only the FUD that we had in crypto as well. It's like if you look at S&P 500, we did have a fairly significant meltdown across all of equities, right? So it was not only crypto. All right. So discussing this, we're having NFP later today. So in general, as pure market structure, this is sort of my favorite setup in general, right? I love, but this has to play out. We can't, so as I mentioned earlier, this is a daily candle. This is another daily candle. For price, give me a second. For price to come back up into towards some of these levels, it needs to find the bottom, right? You need sort of, let's say, so if this closes like this, then tomorrow closes like a small body, right? Something like that. And then you're getting these small body candles. This could be a reversal pattern to take price higher, right? And showing that it found sort of a temporary bottom. Price cannot move back up now within a day or two. If it does that, right? It has to be fundamentally driven, and it will be an amazing shorting opportunity. So if you're having, for example, today NFP, and you're getting something that takes price straight back up, so that means that this is a daily candle, right? So this would turn into a wick, and you would have a full body moving back up. That would be a great shorting opportunity, right, if that happens. So the probability, in my opinion, is to get a prolonged expansion lower into some of these deeper levels of liquidity. And since the idea now that we should have seen some support there didn't occur, for me, we're looking at much lower prices at the moment, right? So this is a daily. Now the interesting part now is that high time frame always overrules. So if you go to the weekly now, let's take away this one. We can just keep it on for a second. So if you go to the weekly, there are no clean SR points, right? There's nothing, right? It's just a void. Look at those weekly candles. Remember that we only used a couple of days to take price up in towards these levels. That means that what I'm looking at now, I think the 80% retracement to the bottom of consolidation is the next on the table, all right? Now, let's take it one step further. So in terms of price now, since this, give me a second. Since this is a weekly chart, keep in mind there's some important aspects there. So since this is a weekly chart now, and price have much further down to go. If you take this to a monthly chart, it doesn't look complete to me, right? The way I view this, more or less, is that, right, now we're getting back to sort of the same concepts again and again and again, right? So this is sort of what it looks like to me, right? Price expanded. Remember the last stream when we discussed this particular trades, right? So you're having, the bull candle, you have a monthly sort of reversal, price expanded back down, right? And then you have expansion within that, and you're seeing this is sort of a head and shoulders in terms of a monthly candlestick pattern, right? And then you're sort of getting that expansion lower, right? So for me, this is ultimate bearish, right? So if we are going to overrule, if monthly is going to overrule weekly, right, and the daily chart, chasing price within the lower prices at the moment doesn't really make sense, chasing it. So what you want to do when you want to trade this, in my opinion, is you want to wait for something similar, right? So this is sort of what I'm trying to explain all the time, and I know it's difficult to see it, but what you have to do is that you see these small body candles you're having here, you're having slightly bigger, but still comparison to the expansion is small body candles. These are small body candles. Close to the top, again, small body candles, right? Consolidation, small body candles, right? So what you want to see small body candles, and you want to see one kind of a reversal. So usually how that looks like is that you're having small body candles, okay, that's coming like this, and it looks like price is taking a break. Many people chase that. If you chase that, you're having the probability of getting rugged, right? So instead of getting rugged, you're waiting for these small body candles, and you're waiting for one engulfing candle. Is that what you want to see? Small body candles, right? So it's really important that you really understand this, because the small body candles on a high time frame is what creates a consolidation on a lower time frame, right? That's sort of the fractal aspect here. So you want to see sort of the expansion into your level, right? And at that level, you want to see small body candles. If you chase that, for example, right there, right? If you chase that, you have a potential of getting nuked further. So often it's important to, instead of chasing it, you wait for price, one candle, to engulf it. Once that is engulfed, your risk is below that low, right? And then you can starting to target prices higher. This is the same fractal would be for the downside, right? So if you have a level right there, okay, a consolidation, a high, when price moves into that, okay, it can extend through it. If you see small body, this is how I lost that particular trade on Bitcoin. If you chase it, right? If you chase it, you're having the potential of, even though it looks like it will break down further, you're having potentially getting rugged and the opposite, right? So it expands higher. Then it creates again these small body candles, right? Once you're having that engulfed, that is when you can take the trade and you can ride sort of the expansion further. This then turns into, in this case, distribution pattern, right? If you flip this upside down, it will be accumulation. It's the same price action. It's just flipped upside down, right? So sort of, it's just liquidity, right? So that is sort of what I recommend in general. So I'm just going to show you this 2 times here, because if you understand this exact concept, you know, it's much easier sort of to navigate. So if you go to the daily here, looking back, you know, you can see, you can say there, depending on how you view it, right? So more importantly, you want to see it on a weekly, but you can of course use it as you're trading the daily as well. So let me just explain it. So here is your consolidation, right? So once you're starting to engulf these ones, your risk is below this lows, right? Because this is what is holding price, and then you can ride the expansion, okay? So so that is sort of the concept you want to be with, all right? So it's the same as we used here on we're having Ethereum. Ethereum, I didn't get it, as I said many times. I think difficult price action structure. We're hoping to get one pump higher. We didn't get it, but regardless, here, if you look at FTM, right? So let's go to the daily chart to trade, and that went really well here. You can see we're sort of closing in on the SR point. So it's the same, right? So price expanding into that, getting that lower high. So the levels we're interested in now, you know, you can take the fib from high to low, and you can see that we're moving into the fractal aspect here of the lower prices. So we're having 2 levels that will be of interest. You're having this clean SR point, okay? This might offer some decent support, okay? And then you're having the lower aspect here where we can see where liquidity is getting thicker, right? So that would be that level. So what you want to see, because you will see how the candles are expanding, right? And when you want to see a reversal to trade it back up the leg, or wait for price to come back up to short it again, you want to see this low, this kind of price action as you're seeing at the lower spectrum, right? So this kind of price action, and this is how I create those fractals I show you, because those are custom made, right? I don't take them based on years or whatever, right? So if I want to make a fractal here that I want to trade, I want price to create small body candles, okay? This is my SR point. I want price to create small body candles, right? So these are sort of the candles I want to see. For me to step in, right, I want to see small body candles, and I want to see these last 2 engulf. Once these are engulfed, the price action right there, okay, I feel more confident. Something like this, right? So price coming back down, I will feel confident that the bottom is potentially in, right? So where's my risk, right? So the way you project risk would then be, all right, so I'm going to take whatever sort of something like that. The risk is below one of these lows, doesn't really matter because you don't expect price to come back down, right? And where is sort of your target, right? So your idea is that, all right, we're having void weakness, meaning that there is no liquidity within those moves of expansion. You expect price to come at least into the next consolidation, right? So that would give you a 3.4R in that case. But overall, you can also sort of project, sort of say that, okay, so maybe we're going to get a larger retest, right? Depending on the overall structures of the markets and whatnot. Give me a second there. Right, so that means, okay, so that means a retest back into some of these highs, right? So you always use the 70 and 80 as projections, okay? And then you're having that lower aspect. Okay, so then so we expect them price to come back up. That would be a 8-9R in that case, and you can take partials on the way and move the stop. all right, so if you want to make a fractal out of this, right, then you do the same, right? So, okay, so if this is the consolidation, we take then price, okay, so we expect price move back down, then back up, right? So this is the consolidation, and then what we're looking for price to maybe go a bit higher, come back down, retest, consolidate, right? And then you want the expansion, because expansion, consolidation, retest, okay? So if you're looking for that, we were looking for price to look maybe, something like that, right? And then price coming back up. Then you will never know if you're gonna go, we can take out this high, we cannot go that low. That is completely random. Then yet again, then you're waiting for the same concept, just the opposite, right? So as a fractal, for example, you want again small body candles right into a high, right? So this is your consolidation, right? So you're looking for small body candles, right? Small body candles into levels you're interested in. So the level we're interested in will then be the 70 and 80% of the top formation, and you're looking for confirmation, looking something similar like this, right? Once you have that, what do you expect then, right? You're expecting price coming back down. So if you have a bearish case, then we're expecting price to take up the low, potentially the next low, right? Because now the liquidity has been used at these levels. All right, so if you take that, then you would wait for liquidity to be taking lower, right? So you're having an algo target at 0.25 or just a fib level target there, and then we're looking for expansion to come lower, right? So what would that be? That will be the same sort of fractal. Now, this won't happen because liquidity has been used through the expansion. You want the expansion to be more swift in this case, right? So in this case, you would look for something similar to this fractal, right? You want it to be swift, right? Something like that, because you already set up, right? So the idea here is that this top formation of the consolidation is creating the expansion to move lower. Once that is done, you want price to nuke, right? And since you're having the void right there, you want the void to come back down. Now, how would it look further, right? So that means when it comes to some thickness right there, you're expecting price to react, right? So if you're expecting price to react at these levels, then you can say, all right, so then we can get a smaller reaction, maybe a smaller retest. Let's give it a second here. Something like that, right? Then you're sort of getting a retest, right? Back up into some of these levels, right? And that could as well be, right, close to the 70 and 80% retracement, or the golden target doesn't really matter, but up towards the prior consolidation again, and then sort of you're getting that movement back down lower towards taking out that initial target you are watching. Okay, for example, it doesn't need to play out exactly like this, but I'm just explaining you how you view price action, right? So for this to play out, it takes time, right? It can't happen within 2 days. So you have to use that into your consideration, that how likely is this and which kind of data points we are watching. Okay, so let's take this away, right? So this was just an explanation. So the way you can view this now is that we're having, let's check the data points. So today we're having NFP, and then we're having the FOMC meeting end of March, 23 March, right? So we're having 23 March, we're having CPI, yeah, so we're having NFP, CPI, and the data points. So either, right, so these are going to cause a lot of market volatility, right? So we haven't really had it. So now, we will go back depending on data points. Now, if you look on the weekly here for Matic, right? So the way this is shaping, most likely we are trying now to take out or go towards the bottom aspect of this, right? This is what price is trying to do. You can get a retest into some of these levels, but I doubt it, right? The probability here now seems that it shifted a lot more to the downside due to data points coming, right? So if we're getting within this weekly or the next weekly candle, you're getting a retest, and then we're getting the dump towards your target, that would just be a wick, right? That would be a wick on the weekly until it hits target. If you look at the monthly, If price now nukes lower, right? On a monthly, it seems like we are going much lower, right? For me, at least that's the way I view it. I think we were trying to extend below this low, right? So we can see another 60% drop from this level. Now, the way I view this is that we can have a retest into the rate meeting, right? The rates, and then you're getting an engulfing, meaning that this candle or the next monthly candle will be larger than the previous, right? You understand? So we're engulfing. We had one bullish retest, okay, and then now we will engulf that. Okay, so we had small consolidation, we took out liquidity, we pumped into the EMAs, right, and then now we're nuking lower. So it's the same concept as you see sort of on Bitcoin if you go here to the monthly chart, right? So most likely it looks to me that we will engulf the previous one, right? That's the way I view it. So even for this to play out, you want price to come back down, and we need a month or two for the candles really to form for a bullish narrative, right? So if you're getting a sell-off, we would need at least 1 or 2 months of consolidating, going sideways before moving higher, regardless, right? We always need accumulation. Now, the only aspect here you can take into sort of a bullish idea is that this here, regardless if it goes lower or higher, might turn into a cumulative pattern. And the strength of this due to since the candles are fairly large, at some point, if you want to talk in the bullish terms, I love doing these fractals, you would sort of see the same concept at some point here that let's do one of these, right? And then it can go higher, right? So something like this, right? And then you're going back up towards 100K. Doesn't mean to go in this particular fashion, but I just want to sort of explain that we are in the last part of the cycle. Doesn't mean that the bottom is in. We can go lower, but regardless, in my opinion, we sort of been in the last part of this bearish cycle. Okay, so so let's take a look at some more altcoins. Ethereum moved, right, hitting the target that I had, even though we didn't get the entry on it. Okay, we're still moving towards target, what it seems like to me. Let's see if we can get that reversal. No, I can't. I don't know why it doesn't want to give me the lower part of this, right? So let's use this one. Let's want to check. Yeah, I like this a lot, right? So let's check the next one. Yeah, I think these two are the levels that we're going to watch now, right? So these are the next levels where we expect sort of bids, right, to come back in and sort of getting a retest, right? So if you view this as the order book, right, order book will get exhausted on the downside and it needs to get back up and retest. We're having NFP and whatnot today, okay? So Binance coin, right, as we discussed, moved up into the high. To me, the same as the rest. It looks like we're going much lower, at least towards the bottom of the consolidation, and then let's see where it goes. Matic, the same here, went into our, we can take this away, into our point of interest right there, okay, and it seems like you're going towards 0.8 there, okay, to the bottom sort of that consolidation, okay, and nothing really bullish about this chart. I think if we actually manage to get back down towards these levels, it's probably going to be a decent buy again, like a very good buy, and I'm probably going to look to get a decent position, right? If you get a sell-off into that, regardless if you take out the low or not, doesn't really matter. It's sort of the confirmation that is important there, and then maybe you get sort of later point to getting sort of that expansion. We will take out liquidity and we will move higher back up into a sort of this higher block of liquidity at that point, right? So yeah, it's a lot of time left, but I think that is the next area of price to take. Um, yeah, decent. That's the viewpoint. Let's go and look at some of these correlations. So you're having yields still in a bullish trend. This is a weekly, right? I think until we get some more information, I think eventually we're trying to get up in towards this this level of price. Sort of that is sort of what I'm waiting for. I think we're going to continue to expand. Gold, nothing. I'm just sort of watching. Price, I think eventually lower at this point, in my opinion. Probably coming back down to consolidate a bit more. Oil again, this looking really bad at the moment, and I think as well the same concept that we're coming back down towards this clean level. I was thinking that we might get an expansion, but it seems that price just moves unfavorably into one direction with basically no retests at all, right? So that has been sort of the idea that we see most of the time lately, right? So I think price coming back down now. I think first we will see around 60 expansion into that, then see how things unfold. But eventually, I think the 40 level is a very decent level for oil, right? An extension into that, I think that would be a really good idea. Let's see if we can get. If you just going to use a very simple fractal of this, right? You sort of want an extension into these levels. Let's see if we can use just something like that, right? And then at the bottom there, you might get some kind of a consolidation. Give me a second. Yeah, just getting some kind of a consolidation close to the bottom there, and then sort of seeing price starting to extend, right? Something like that. I think that's sort of what we're looking at. Then price hover usually does that, right? And then people calling for low prices, and it just expands back up. So yeah, that's about that. Now for dollar as well, look at this, right? So for me, it seems like we're creating a lot of support here on the weekly, and I think as well, unless we're getting any major surprise of the Federal Reserve pivoting, I think this will sort of be the SR there, and then price will start moving back up, right? So I think that will be sort of the SR maximum coming back down, retest into those EMAs. And look at those. So you're having sort of the 20, the 200, and 100 EMA on a daily. That should offer some decent support in my opinion, right? So you're having price nuking below it, and then price extends, right? And this is sort of the fractal I showed you on oil, right? So if you look at that kind of price action you're seeing right there, it's sort of the same fractal I tried to portray you for the idea here on oil, isn't it, right? So price often extends lower, okay? And then you're having these consolidation, you create it on the other side, and I have been trapped many times in those particular trades, and then price does a very small dip and then just continue to extend. This is sort of what I expect, right? But it will come down to how the Fed policies are and data points, right? It's nothing I can control, but that would be sort of my wild guess at the moment. And we can, so let's see how things unfold. So let's do a quick here on Euro USD. This trade, I think is decent, but I think it's better to wait after the NFP, right? Because we can go much higher, and retest will be much better to get sort of an entry around these levels, even higher, right? So we better to wait for confirmation. It's just a blueprint of levels I'm most likely going to respond to, unless you want to have some exposure into NFT. That's completely fine as well. Retest there, USD CAD. Look at this massive expansion. Remember, we talked about this in every single video, right? USD CAD. When we were at these levels, we said this is SR, we're gonna extend, and we are. So if you watch the weekly, if you can trade the weekly and daily, I promise you it's the best decision you will ever make. Now the same here for equities, we look bearish, nothing to be saved here, right? So if you look at the structure here, nothing, right? We're just doing the McDonald's pattern. most likely coming lower towards, we broke below the 120 EMA, we're going back and retest the 20, and then let's see where price is headed. So that's why I'm also very bearish on Bitcoin, right? There's nothing there that tells me that anything is going to be saved, okay? So yeah, I think that's about it. No point watching or discussing other altcoins until we see something, right? So if equities are going to take a hit, it will drag crypto with it, right? And liquidity is so finite at the moment, and I do think most likely we're going to see sort of a big black swan event. Big black swan. All right, so that's it, guys. Let's talk later. Hope this stream helped. Peace out.